Story 1. I rent a property out as a Air BNB. The person mentioned they were in town for a family reunion and would be checking in on Friday afternoon and leaving on Sunday afternoon. I have electronic check-in with a lockbox on the front door. Everything is done online, which makes it so much easier. So I didn't need to see them when they checked in. I did send a text message to make sure everything was fine. Later that night, I got a phone call from the next-door neighbor. She always looks out for the house and lets me know if anyone is acting up. She is the kind of person that never complains without a good reason. Immediately I knew that something was wrong when she said that there was a party at the house, but was really worried when she said there was a loud bang. The house is on a dead-end street and there are only 4 houses down the block. And at this time looks like everyone else was away and she was the only person around, so no one but her heard the loud bang. I was worried, but didn't think it could have actually been a shooting. My first thought was that it was a firecracker or something like that, and that they're messing around with fireworks in my house, which would be a big problem. I would kick them out right away. I decided to take a drive over there and see in person what was going on and then go from there. When I pulled up, there was a single car in the driveway and I could see that the lights were on inside the house. As I am walking up to the house, I could see a few people, at least 4 or 5, but nothing too crazy. I could hear some loud music playing, and at this time of night, they do need to turn it down. By this time, it was close to midnight. I walked up to the front door and rang the doorbell, but nobody answered. I'm sure they couldn't hear me with the loud music playing, but I tried again anyways. I waited for another few minutes, and suddenly the front door swung open. A man ran into me as he rushed out of the house. He looked at me with this face and then took off running down the street. The look on his face was like he was shocked to see me. Then another person came to the door and I was like, "Can I speak to Chad?" I told the person I am the owner of the house and I got a complaint about the noise and I wanted to warn them before the police got involved, trying to make it sound like I was on their side, just doing a favor by coming by and letting them know. It didn't seem to work out. Things got tense pretty quick. It wasn't long before another guy was getting in my face. Then the next thing I know, 2 more guys come out and surround me. I would guess that there were less than 10 people in total, though from the corner of my eye I saw another man coming towards me from inside the house and he had a handgun tucked into his pants. Now what the neighbor was saying was probably true, with her saying she heard a gunshot. They were all pretty much drunk at this point. And you can't deal with people like that, and plus a gun being involved now makes things even more tense. I went back to my car and drove around the block and called the cops. They got there pretty fast since I did tell them there was a guy with a gun and people there were all drunk. They were able to break up the party, and while they were there the police smelled weed, so they searched the house and the people that were there. It looked like something out of the movies, with people sitting all in a line in handcuffs. They ended up taking 6 of them to jail, and one of them was the person who rented the house. The rest of them were told they have to go and got trespass warnings. The next day I went early in the morning to check the house out and see if there was any damages. I found a bullet hole in my floor, and the house was trashed. This is the bad part of Airbnbs. I still don't know what really went on, and if the gunshot was intentional or if it was a drunk accident, but either way those people were dangerous. I wish I never let them into my house. Story 2. This happened a few years ago, but I still can't get over it. I'm in the real estate business. I also have a few houses that I rent out as Airbnb properties. I do it all myself, from the cleaning and some repairs. Now, if I have a big repair that I am not comfortable with, I have a friend that is a contractor that I will have come out and help. But anyways, I have a 2-story house about a 30 minutes drive from where I live. It was nice as a short-term rental, so it was a good investment for a while. That makes me a good return on the investment. I have it set up with a self-service check-in. I rarely had to meet the guest in person, and the convenience was especially nice for both me and the people who I have renting the property. During the summer months, the house was booked pretty much every weekend. I would make the trip out there to clean the place out for the next customer. This time it was rented out for a weekend with the customer scheduled to check out on Monday morning. The renter was a woman named Lisa, She said it was just her and one other person that was a friend. I didn't ask any other questions. They showed up around 8 p.m. that Friday night. I sent a message to make sure everything was okay. I got a text back from her saying that everything is fine, and she said the house was so nice and clean. That weekend flew by like they all do. On Monday right at noontime, I got a message through the self-check-in system that the customer had turned in the key and left the house. I didn't rush over to clean it right away. I would not have another customer showing up till Thursday, so I waited until Wednesday evening when I had some free time. I got into my truck and drove over to the house. I opened the front door, stepped in, and was struck by the overpowering smell of bleach. I mean, it was bad. As I started walking through the house, I walked over to the corner of the living room. There was a strange spot. It looked like something was dropped on the floor and they tried to clean it up. To me, that was not a big deal, but why clean it with bleach? I started to walk through the rest of the house to see if there was anything that seems off. The kitchen looked untouched. It was clean. I walked over to the bathroom and I checked under the sink for the cleaning supplies. It was part of my routine, and if there was anything that I needed to be replaced, I would make a note and run over to the store and stock it back up. But something still feels off for some reason. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. I obviously thought there was something they were covering up, like a crime scene, or am I just thinking some off-the-wall stuff? I walked back into the living room and took a closer look at the spot in the corner. It was a decent-sized stain on the wooden floor and it was ruined. So I would have to replace a few of the boards or put a rug over it, but it would look out of place since it was in the corner. After taking a closer look at the spot, I stepped out onto the street and called the police. I had a feeling something was just off with this one because of the amount of bleach that was used. And all of us have seen the crime shows, and what do the bad people use to clean up stuff? Bleach. When the police showed up, the officer looked around for a while and agreed that it was weird. But also they said maybe they only saw the bleach and just used too much of it. They asked me for more information about the person who rented the house. I was happy to give it to them. I went home for the night. 2 days went by and a detective called me to say that he spoke with the woman that rented the house and that she admitted to cleaning the place with bleach, but she had an excuse. They claimed that they were partying and somebody drank too much and made a mess. They cleaned it up and didn't think anything else about it. I found that hard to believe. That still would not explain the spot on the floor. I would have to have it repaired at the end of the day. I can't prove anything else went on. I was reimbursed for the damage to the floor. I still think they did something weird in my place, but the police said that is all they can do.